Mouthing away emptily at the...
Yeah, for all the combined knowledge we have on SEO and marketing, it's funny that we just can't get the streaming software down pat after Power Balloon.
Well, I mean, we just used it last week. You would figure that it still works.
All right, Tristan says it works.
Yeah, all I did was unmute it and mute it in the Streamlabs software, so I didn't change anything.
It's Google messing with us.
Yeah, they don't want the knowledge coming out.
Yeah, there you go. But it looks like in Majestic, the tool can now show you more context around the links it analyzes. Segmenting every web page into chunks or sections. That's pretty cool. I would like to see that. And it also covers things like link density within a small section of any page. I think it's a cool feature. I don't know if that would get me running to Majestic to sign up for that.
I mean, they find links quicker than Ahrefs now.
Yeah.
And Majestic is now the fastest crawler as far as I can tell. And I've asked like 6 or 7 random other people that I know have got Majestic accounts as well as Ahrefs, and they're all finding the same. So.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It seems like Ahrefs, especially since I'm doing this link campaign, is really slow in grabbing link data. Like I know we have about 4 or 5 links that we landed already, but nothing is showing up in Ahrefs.
No, they've certainly slowed down quite a bit.
They must have done it on purpose. It must be a money reason. They're trying to push their profit margin up probably or something like that.
Well, they're dedicating all their money and starting that stupid search engine, so...
Yeah,
I think I called this 6 months ago when they said they'd kill their actual money-making tool to go on this odyssey of building a crappy search engine.
Have we heard anything about that since that one tweet?
I saw Sergi talking about it a couple months ago, but it was still very vague and ridiculous, so...
Well, the problem is, there's already been... excuse me, someone tried to build one. Blacko tried to build a search engine for search professionals and charge for it, and no one wanted to pay for it. So I don't really understand who they think is going to want to pay for this new search, or is it just going to be free and they lose money on it? Do they think none of it? I don't really understand.
I can't imagine at this day and age making a search engine and trying to compete anyways. Like, why? You can't. Like
Well, you
DuckDuckGo's been
can't.
around a
You can't.
decade
It's a
and
very
still can't.
specific niche. Like DuckDuckGo is doing fine. Like it's a profitable business. It's not trying to compete with Google and Bing in terms of becoming one of the big
Well,
two.
right, but it's
Did you guys see the tweet from Danny Sullivan? He was basically like defending himself against DuckDuckGo. Did we talk about that on the show last week? Let me find it.
I don't think so.
Yeah, 7 days ago. I'm gonna throw it in the chat here. Somebody tweeted at Danny, or no, DuckDuckGo made a tweet. It said most people know now companies like Google and Facebook collect and sell your data. Yet some people think, so what? I have nothing to hide. And here are 5 compelling reasons to tell them why your privacy is more important than you think. Those 5 reasons are hyper-targeted ads, propaganda and discrimination, the filter bubble, user data is saved, and user data is sold. So Danny Sullivan came back and basically disputed only one of those 5 points, which was the filter bubble, and then failed to address any of the other points, which everybody was saying is very valid. I don't know. It's just interesting. It tells us that DuckDuckGo is very much on the radar of Google.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone has to be on Google's radar that provides anything search related, because they saw how quickly they toppled everyone and became the biggest, and they saw how quickly Facebook did the same to MySpace, and Friends reunited before that by MySpace. Anything can get toppled at any time if they go on some horrific run of bad press and user leakage.
Yeah.
Google's in a very safe position. I'm not predicting that or anything, but I'm not surprised that their PR machine is at least giving lip service to defending itself, because they don't want people getting any ideas in their head. I found Google search to be so bad lately that for the first time ever, DuckDuckGo is more useful for specific long tail queries than Google. Google started yielding high authority site. And I know I've moaned about this on the show before, but loads of the time now I'm getting better results on DuckDuckGo than Google for specific long tail questions I've got. So I think Google do have to watch themselves if they become a crap search engine as well.
Yeah.
Because the ads aren't going to save them, because the ads aren't going to be about what I'm searching about either. They're going to be ads something to do with it. But like if I search for static site builder and the only people advertising are like WordPress hosts, that's fine because I might want hosting, but it's not gonna. It doesn't solve the main purpose of Google existing anymore. Whereas if DuckDuckGo is giving me an ad too, but actually the results I'm looking for, it's going to win.
Yeah.
And that's a slow thing, and Bing should have been on this. They just haven't capitalized at all on the fact that they at one point had a really good market share. And the alliance with Yahoo and stuff, it gave them 30% in some countries. They could have really attacked Google better, but I think people still hated Microsoft too much back then. Now, Microsoft isn't the enemy anymore. The timing just wasn't right. People were still suspicious of Microsoft.
Yeah, I definitely have lost some of my hatred for Windows and Microsoft a little bit. They still are a big, scary, big brother type company, but definitely don't hate them as much as I used to.
I still like Windows.
Yeah. Well, at this point, there's absolutely no way I'm switching over to Apple or Mac.
Yeah.
It's too late in my old man life.
Well, it's like wasting your money for no real benefit anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
The hardware. People are always moaning about their Apple shit now. Like one of our friends has one, and he's like, "Oh, I hate this piece of shit." Okay. You never used to hear that 15 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever it was that they were at their most powerful in terms of people defending them. Like, they can't charge double the price and be the same or worse. But, it looks a bit prettier. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't really matter.
I'm still so resistant to using a company's suite of products. I don't use Microsoft OneDrive, even though it integrates personally into everything Windows does. Everything I do is kind of like cookie cutter and piecemeal, but I guess it's just paranoia on my part.
I just have to use things that work on Linux, Windows, and Android because they're the three things I have. So it has to work on all three. So OneDrive is out just because it only works on Android and Windows.
I still want to be a Linux guy, but I just don't like. To do Linux, you got to learn the shell, right?
No,
you don't have to.
No, I don't. I use the shell when I'm coding and stuff and doing things that would be easier in the shell. But if you're just using it to work on, the only annoying thing is that there isn't a good Office suite unless you like using Google Docs, and I use Google Docs a lot for work stuff just because it's easier to bang something on there and share it with someone. But if you're like Garrett, who uses Office really heavily and all the spreadsheets and is used to all the ways everything works, Linux is a pretty horrible switch.
You got to do a virtual machine into a Windows install, right?
And then there's lag, and then it's slow, and then I get pissed. And then
what about their cloud service, the 365? Is not the same as Google
It's not
Docs?
as powerful. Like if you're just using Word and a bit of basic Excel, it's completely fine. If you're doing all the complicated stuff in Excel, then it's no good.
Interesting. Yeah,
it's like Google's Office suite. Like it's like a basic Excel, isn't it? And it's the same with Microsoft's. Microsoft's I think is a little bit better than Google's, but there's not much between the two. They're both, considering they're in the cloud, they're both decent, I think.
Well, Google Sheets has like stupid shit, like you can't remove duplicates, or like the summation function is like dumb. They just have like little features that everybody's used to on Excel that they just need to integrate. Like there's a third-party Chrome add-on just to remove duplicates from a sheet. You think they would add that as a feature?
Yeah, I think Google's pretty bad at developing any products other than the advertising engine. Like everything they make is borderline terrible in some way.
Well,
I think Android's
now that the Google search engine is borderline terrible.
Well, yeah, I was just making. Yeah.
I was just talking to a client who he worked with this company to integrate Google Hire into their HR process, and they just got up and running on it, and Google just announced that they're discontinuing the platform last week.
Oh yeah, you can't trust any Google product will continue to exist.
Yeah,
I mean that's why Samsung supports the open source development of Tizen or whatever it's called, and actually tested it on their watches at one point, and makes devices but in some developing world markets where they use that as the main operating system. It's not because there's any real cost, they save a couple of bucks a phone or whatever, but they've spent all that money investing and developing in it in case Android ever goes to shit or Google makes a change they don't like. Because Google could quite easily decide that they're going to go Chrome OS for everything. And Samsung's invested a fortune in things like DeX for the desktop experience on Android and all this kind of stuff. And so they even on something as flagship as Android, big companies are worried that Google might discontinue it or make a change that breaks it for what they want to do.
Right.
So you really can't depend on anything Google releases being available in 2 years' time still.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. All right, we got an SEO by the Sea article. I know this is right up Garrett's alley, so I'll let you take this one here.
Sandy's.
I just skimmed through it this morning. He's just talking. Like if you have a query, like the image at the top kind of breaks it down pretty much exactly what he's talking about. You type Kate Middleton, and then we're going to augment it. What would be next in your logic flow? Someone might ask about where she went to school. So St. Andrews University, I assume that's where she went to school, or the big wedding. Who's her sister? Stuff that keeps you taking you down the rabbit hole at Google. Through people also have all the little features that Google has now. Like if you Google a celebrity, it'll have images of who's their wife, who's their sister, who's.
So is he? In using this example, is he saying that to rank for Kate Middleton, you want to have the query St. Andrew's wedding and sister in your content?
No, remember, he usually doesn't talk about that type of stuff. He's just talking about how it works and how the patent explains it. But You bring up an interesting point. I think you've talked about that in the past, haven't you?
Well, I mean, that's the whole concept of TF-IDF, or just term frequency in general. That if all of these terms are related to the main term, that you probably want all the augmented terms in your document. But
the only assumption there with that's not really TF-IDF, because you're making a bad assumption that Google would actually know what's all related, and they usually don't.
yeah.
Speaking of this, though, SEMrush has a newish tool, document analysis thing. It's pretty cool. Well, it's
Just screwed up my audio again.
it suggests some additional things to include, and similar to all the other ones, but obviously included in your SEMrush subscription. So.
I'll tell you though, man, just with because I do a lot of keyword research. Like it's keyword research is like I like it. I just like doing it. So I'm always like looking in niches all the time. And really, what I'm seeing is the average domain rating across the top 10 results, or basically any money term that I look at right now, is like DR 55 and above.
Yep.
So all of this, page level optimization stuff that everybody's kind of like going crazy over right now, it's meaningless if you don't have if your domain rating is not 55 or above, because you'll never be able to, or you'll have a pretty hard time getting onto the first page, which is the money traffic, if you don't have the authority. So for me right now, I'm just getting the rest of the content we've created up, and like 80% of my efforts are going to go into link building for at least the next year, with Reach Creator, with the stuff I'm doing, and then maybe if I can snipe some really high authority links too, or even pay for them. I don't mind doing that. But optimizing on the page level when you have no chance of getting onto the first page anyway is kind of meaningless and a waste of time, in my opinion. First, got to have the ammunition to get there.
Yeah, I think that's just the landscape of what search results are in the last 6 months, especially, where the sites with authority will rank even if their content shit. So it's
going to be worth it though, guys. I mean, like once we're into DR 60 and above, then it's like a self-fulfilling cycle. Like once you're in the top 5, it's going to be very hard to get kicked out unless you're doing something shady, because then you start getting your natural links that come because people are getting eyes on the content, and it just you just kind of get locked in there. And you can tell that's true if you're a Circle client, because they have a volatility score for a keyword or a niche. And if you look at some of the low volatility keywords, you can see the top 3 spots, or the top 3 ranking pages, have all been in that spot for like 6 months or more. Once you get up there, it seems like it's pretty difficult to get yourself knocked out.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got another piece here. Blumenthal's, buddy Mike. Google local tests continue new CTA and related searches. We talked about this maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
I can't remember. I just saw I put this up last week. So
yeah, I'm starting to see some of these CTA changes in the knowledge box, or the local box, but it doesn't seem consistent. It seems like they're changing it around a lot.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything local anymore, are you?
Not really.
Got a little lead gen site for some stuff up here in Minnesota. We have one local client, but the client we've been with for like 3-4 years now, and they just dominate for everything they do, because we've built like 300 links for them over 4 years.
Yeah.
For
So all we're doing, all we're really focusing on there is just increasing their dominance. Like every possible service they offer, we're knocking a competitor off every month. And so we just add some more services, build some links, add some more and gradually they're just taking over every conceivable related field that you can find them through. So it's kind of easy if you've got a client who's prepared to go the long haul with it, because local's insanely easier to dominate compared with national.
I handed off all my local clients to a buddy's local agency, and he was very, very impressed with the links you guys built to that site. Just because we're getting national rankings for some services in the vertical, and so this is, it's a dental. Services that high competition through our content that we wrote for the page and Stephen Garrett's links. The dentist is now ranking on the national level for their services, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so there you go. If you run a local business, let us kill your competition for you, but you got to give us some time. I mean, that was a good length campaign, wasn't it? Like a year, 9 months. I forget how long that was now.
Yeah, actually, there was 2 campaigns. I forget what the first one was for, that they're locked in on the first page, but the second one only took about a month and a half, and it's killing it right now.
Cool. A month and a half results are not guaranteed.
Yeah. we had the content up on that page and aging for a few months before we started hitting it with with some links.
Speaking of links, Steve and I are doing 5% off all links in the month of September. You just got to mention that you saw me say this on the show. So get an extra little chunk off if you want to order through us.
If you don't,
Word Agents is not doing any discounts, and
what?
I said Word Agents is not doing any discounts.
If you don't watch the show, then you pay 10% more. So it's
Yeah. But if you come say hi to us at Brighton, maybe I'll cut you a deal if you like. We'll see.
I think they're gonna like you over here, then.
What's that?
They're gonna like you over here, then.
Yeah. Good.
This crazy New Yorker.
So Steve, you said you had a review or something?
Yeah. So I was looking for a static site builder to play with that was kind of simple, because a lot of them are designed to be really robust if you've got big teams, multiple people committing to Git and all this kind of shenanigans. And I wanted something that was like, I could just write the pages and set the templates up really easily. So I wanted something that was a bit like, I reviewed on the show ages ago, Perch as a CMS, which is kind of a designer's CMS. You design your templates, and you just add tags all over the place, and then you can just get rolling and give it to the client to put their blog posts up, and that's it. There's none of this over-engineering that WordPress has, where it copes with every conceivable thing. So I was looking for the static site equivalent of Perch, where you literally just took templates that you designed or bought, stick some tags in, and get editing content. And it's called Lector, Lektor, Lektor.com. It would be terrible if you've got a massive team. It would be terrible if you've got dozens of people committing edits to Git at separate times. It's absolutely fantastic if it's just a couple of you wanting to bang some content up on a site really simply. It generates the static sites live as you're editing and posting things on your machine, and then you just deploy it to whatever static host you want, which the one I picked to test costs $1 a month or something per site, and it loads blisteringly fast despite me buying a pretty heavy bootstrap template. It loads in like 0.3 seconds or something with size header image. And
how much editing did you have to do to that template before you got it to how you liked it?
I didn't change. Well, the template's a bootstrap template, so it's just nicely customized bootstrap elements. So you can make pages. You can make a page that looks the way you want in like less than an hour in bootstrap, and then integrating it with Lector took around 10 minutes a page. Cool. Once I'd done the first page, because you had to like put the header in the header template, and you had to break the page up into chunks. Once you'd broken the basic bootstrap template up into chunks, from then adding new chunks, adding new widgets, all the kind of stuff you do is like a 5-minute job each, and then you get a proper back end to post and edit in. So once you've set your pages up, it's just like using WordPress. If you know the custom page templates thing people used to use on WordPress to build pages of like different bits and pieces, like a review, and then you type it into the review doc, or like Divi, I guess, or something like that. It's like using WordPress with one of those custom widgets backends. You can just go in and edit all your bits, hit save, boom, page is generated. So I've loved this. You can build super fast sites even with really heavy templates because there's no PHP, there's no shenanigans. And if you use I forget, I'll review the host I use next week, so I've forgotten, but the host that I use, the static site host I use, the CDN's built in, the caching's built in, all the things that you get shit scores on like the site speed test tools, it's all built in. The only thing that I get moaned about is the fact that the Bootstrap template I bought loads of resources like Google Fonts. So it's like, yeah, you should probably not like load 400 different resources just to render it. But other than the Bootstrap template I picked not being optimal, all the other stuff was handled by the static site host just instantly. Nothing to do, just drop the zip up there and it was deployed with all the caching, CDN, everything done, which is fantastic. So I
would love to hear what the ranking performance is for that site, because there's always rumblings that Google kind of gives a negative weight if you're on WordPress because they assume you're affiliate.
I think it's definitely true that if you have a really crappy WordPress site, you're probably being held back a little bit. But I think Google must, given WordPress's dominance, have more nuance to that than just WordPress.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily a problem if you're on WordPress and you're an affiliate. But I think you were putting a target on your back though if you were using a really, really stock experience that looks the same as loads of other people in your niche and everyone's using the same templates and it's the same I think there were some elements where you could be screwing yourself, but I'll let you guys know. I don't know how much I'm going to do with this site. I was just really wanting to play with the static site builders to see if I could find one I liked.
Cool.
I don't know what I'll be doing with it, but I had a play. I got a site up with a template that I bought, and I had a site up and wrote a piece of content and set up a custom page within 2 hours. So for me on static site builders, where I've had ones where I didn't even understand what I was supposed to do after 2 hours before because of all these weird, because they have if you're not familiar with the templating style they use, you've got to set up data in one format, then you've got to set the template up in another format, and you've just got this Bootstrap template to customize. I mean, you could be looking at 5-6 hours work just to get up to speed on your first page. And then you've got to get used to how it compiles, and there's all these different compiling rules. And I didn't want any of that. I wanted one that was just built for someone who is like a designer. Not that I'm a designer, but that's my level of caring about what happens next. I care about what it looks like, and I want to write the content. I don't want to deal with any other shit. And this seemed to tick those boxes really well. It is in Python, which is cool for SEOs, because I know obviously Paul Shapiro has been pushing you all to learn Python. So that means if you want to integrate lots of APIs into your compile process, like you pull a load of data down and update a load of stuff every time you compile, you'd be able to do that really easily if you can code in Python. So that was another win for it. Not that I'm doing anything like that at the moment, but the idea that you might want to refresh and check all your affiliate feeds and update them all to the latest links from an API when every time you publish a new post, that might be something you want to do. So, or every time you compile it, or every time once a day, whatever your rule is for when you want to do that. Having Python is super cool for that, because it's going to be a lot easier to do that kind of thing in some god-awful PHP mess. I still hate PHP, by the way.
I can tell by the tone of your voice.
Well, it is a bit of a mess, isn't it? I mean, I give the WordPress team enormous credit for making such an amazing piece of software in such a finicky and awkward language as PHP. It's like, someone somewhere was a genius on the first version of WordPress to get that all working.
Cool. Well, I think that's everything for the week, right?
Yep. Time to go overdose on NyQuil and.
Gonna go hit the sack for a few days.
Too much stuff to catch up on.
Yeah, I feel you, man. All right, well, that's it for us. No show next week because we will be at Brighton SEO.
Yeah, if you're around, don't forget to come say hi.
Yeah, you might get a word agent's discount if you come say hi to me. You never know.
We'll probably upload a little video from us at the pub talking to some SEOs though or something, just to keep the channel alive next week. Quick live from Brighton update from Vin. We'll make sure he's had at least 12 drinks though before we put him on the air. So look forward to
yeah,
that.
I had some stomach issues, so I haven't drank for about 2 months. So I'm assuming my state of being at that after party will be a little rough. But you might get some more discounts. You never know. When I'm drunk.
Oh man, that's gonna be so funny when some guy comes up to the stand like the day afterwards and talking to Joanna like, so I need my 20,000 free words by tomorrow. Can you guys still handle that?
Shut up. God. Yeah, no rush orders. Discounts are possible, but rush orders are not.
There we go. You know what to ask for now if you see Ben drunk.
There you go.
Ask for speed, ask for cheap.
All right, guys. We shall see you next week. Or 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah, see you in
All
2
right.
weeks. Except for Ben's drunk video next week.
Adios.
Sounds good. See you. Bye.